ready for the evaluation session?
Yes!
If this is the case, why don't we invite our judges?
Such a fun team, isn't she? So good evening again, everyone.
Good
Now
evening.
we're going to the evaluation session, and let's not waste any time to bring up our first evaluator. Let's welcome our table topics evaluator. Let's welcome Adlan.
All right, good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Now let's jump ahead and we're going to start with Philip. Philip, as always, very engaging. He's very charismatic. He relates with the guests very easily and also on a personal level. Now, Philip, for this table topic, he got the question, what do you do to encourage yourself during hard times? He danced around the question a lot. But that is a skill that he uses to give him time to think on the spot. Now, he answered it with to survive, but he ended his speech with enjoying the hard times. So there's an inconsistency with his answer. Now, I think Philip is so comfortable up here because he has equilibrate himself with the hard times. My suggestion for Philip is to just take a moment to choose from his vast experience, just choose a moment to share and answer the question instead of just jumping in and dancing around the question and giving contradictory answers. Next is Nazri, who got the question, who is the best, who would you go to for encouragement? I like that he asked the question again to, just to be clear that he got the right question. And it's clear that he answered it from his personal story. That's why it was easy for him to take us through the steps. And the funny thing is, when he gave his speech, I can see the way he thinks. He was thinking in a mind map kind of way. So he had that topic there, and then he keep on going out and then coming back to the same one. So, but the focus was not on the question, but it was on word of encouragement. So he would say, who do I go for word of encouragement? I would Google for word of encouragement. I would YouTube for word of encouragement. So he lost the focus of the question itself, which is, who would you go for encouragement? Which he initially answered Google, but he ended it with more on YouTube. Now, my suggestion would to always remember what the question actually was, and maybe also a suggestion for the topic master to have that question on hand, so that the guest, the speaker, could always refer back to the question itself. The next is Bang. Yes. You had a question, what can someone do to encourage you when you feel depressed? I like that the flow was very clear. He started off with his feeling that he needs to equilibrate his feeling, and then he took that feeling into the emotion of anxiety, and then he took that feeling of anxiety to how someone helped him with the anxiety, and then he basically set up a very good stage for that person. That's what he did. However, he jumped straight into answering the question with, I need to equilibrate my feelings instead. And then he had a moment of pause where he needs to think again That's what I noticed. My suggestion would be to think first, and then he can add that statement where, thank you for your patience, I had to equilibrate my feelings, and then continue with the story, with his speech. Take a moment before you start. Last but not least is Heidi, who had the question, who has inspired you the most? I like that she answered the question directly, no hesitation, Dr. Sofiana. And she's very animated with the way she presented her speech. And I like that she keep on emphasizing how the person she inspired her, called her into action. Go into Brunei Toastmasters, and then into the other club, and then to do this, to do that. I like that repetitiveness, just to emphasize this person. However, I noticed that somehow along the way, this becomes a love letter to Dr. Sofiana. And you kind of forget that you're doing a speech, and instead of you keep on going on and on singing praises for your idol, which is very cute, but for speech-wise, not so much. Honestly, I'm jealous because she's affected to that extent. But with that, I think we just need to gather our focus, which is to give a speech, and the extras phrases you can give to her directly. With that, thanks to the
nicely done there, very composed. But I have to say, I disagree with the last part. I think Heidi's speech was fantastic, even though it sounded like a love letter, because that can be a unique speech structure by itself. So I think what Adnan demonstrated really well is he's very attuned to what the speakers are thinking and their thought processes. He identifies exactly what Philip does and gives suggestions, and he identifies what makes Heidi's speech stands out as well. Just a couple of small reminders, because you did say in the beginning you wanted to focus specifically on intro, body, and conclusion. Sometimes repeating that can help. For example, you could have repeated that when you gave feedback on Peng, because I think during his table topics, intro there, body there, conclusion could have been wrapped up nicely. So we should mention that fact again. And when you gave feedback on Nazri, I agree with all your points. The only thing that, because I related to Nazri's speech a bit differently, because you say he went off tangent, off topic. If you do think so, how can he make it related back to the topic? Just share some details, like share, for example, what he could actually say to make it relatable back to the speech. So just a couple of things. So nicely done, especially for a first timer. Everyone, round of applause for that. And next, we'll have the speech evaluator. So first, I always forget that part. All right, the announcement of the best table topic speaker. Let's welcome Lawrence, everyone.
Alright, before I announce the winner of the table topic session, I would like to express my sincere gratitude to all the 4 speakers for the uplifting and motivating speeches. Let's give them a big round of applause. Let's tell you who the best table topic speaker is. Drum rolls, everybody. The best table topic event goes to Philip.
I promise I won't skirt around the topic anymore. Thank you very much.
Congratulations, Philip. I bet he has a huge stack of these. Lawrence, just some quick thoughts on your role as Table Topics Master. You're always very prepared, very meticulously well prepared. He's always here taking notes early before the meeting, so there's no doubt. And when he explains his role, that preparation shows. It's very clear cut what his intentions are, what he wants the speakers to achieve. And when he explains it, he's very calm. When he does the role, he's very calm, he's very articulated, he says the question, the topic very clearly, and that calm demeanor just helps give that energy to the speakers also. It puts the speaker at ease. So, nothing wrong, perfectly executed Table Topics Master role. If you would like to challenge yourself, I suggest try experimenting with sharing little insights or things that you can call out on from the speech. Because if something particularly stood out, call that out, say something about that. Or if something didn't particularly go well, see if you can twist it around to bring the mood up. Just something to experiment. So well done, Lawrence, as Table Topics Master. Now we can go to the prepared speech evaluators. Round of applause to Lawrence. First speech evaluator to evaluate Song's speech, let's welcome Chatra.
Good evening, everyone. In my evaluation of Sung's speech, I am to look at whether or not Sung applied the feedback given in her previous speech. Feedback number 1 is to have a coherent speech structure. In this, Sung succeeded. Firstly, Sung talked about her time in university, comparing herself to Cindy, introduced how different they were, and then talked about how she's losing herself, and finally realizing how self-destructive it was, in the end reflecting and learning to love herself. So you brought me into the Bildung's romance story in which the protagonist grows as a person. Your timeline was clear. I understood how things happened and how it progressed. Your points also flowed seamlessly. I easily follow your train of thought, your change in mindset, and finally your growth as a person. The second feedback which was given was to have one clear message. This time you changed your title of your speech, which fits better and ties in together with the theme and topic of your speech instead of your previous title, which was You Can't Do It. And I found that none of your message is confusing. All the paragraphs are about how you compare yourself, its effects on you, and how you break out of it. You also say capabilities can't be defined when you're comparing yourself with someone else. That's also a point of comparisons. And to be objective and see beauty within oneself. I also love this strong message. It's very memorable and it's easy for people to take away. And again, so in this point, you succeeded. You had one clear message, which is comparisons with that picture. There are other things that Song did well on. Firstly, she was engaging. She posed questions in the beginning of the speech asking who compares themselves and who is victim to always comparing people. And she also had interesting story with a clear and relatable message, which is enforced by a good usage of pitch and tone, which I thought not only were you engaging, but you were also confident as a speaker. My challenge for you, I have 2 challenges. Firstly is eye contact. I noticed that you are in here in the middle. You have this poise and confidence, but one thing you trace, which is looking at the ceiling and looking at the floor, but you're smiling. But that thing you could work on to have eye contact. The next challenge is to equilibrate your speech. I found that you have points on unhealthy versus healthy comparisons, in which 90% of your speech is about unhealthy comparisons. You dedicated a line or 2 on healthy comparisons. I wish you could talk more about what you did or how you have healthy comparisons in your speech. Other than that, good job. You passed your level 1 projectivity.
I'll reserve my feedback for Pamo feedback after all the evaluators have gone. So next, let's welcome to evaluate Shahnoor's speech. Let's welcome Ling Ling.
people I know that has this ability to sort of marry humor and informative speeches together in such an entertaining way. You did it last year for the contest, and you did it again today. I've never really seen anyone do anything like that. So I think it's a skill. It's such a great skill to have. Logical fallacies can be such a dry topic, and you could have easily fallen into the trap of over-explaining things like, oh, this is this policy, this is that policy. Why is this policy about? This is why you should do that. So yeah, it could have been really dry, but you kept it really light-hearted, entertaining. And this, I feel, is one of your strongest points, this easygoing humor of yours. With regards to researching and presenting, here are my thoughts. Number one, I like the effort that went into extracting your resources from all those multiple sites that you cited. We have logicalfallacy.com, bestschools.org, creative copywriting, Hackbird, Resilient Educator. So there were so many different websites that you got information from. So you definitely put in the effort to look for your facts. If I may recommend, I would have loved to see more variety in the types of research you have chosen to share it with us today. If possible, maybe a quote from an expert in the field, maybe a line from an article or a publication, some figures, if that can be found, since this is kind of a soft science, a reference to a survey or research, or even a passing mention to the origin of policies, Aristotle himself. So these could have been a couple of ways that you can add some variety to your research, and I feel this would have strengthened your speech even more and add more dimensions to your speech. For your presentation, I thought you were very clever, especially in the use of memes and animations. I mean, who does that? It was very on trend, I felt. Maybe a bit young for the average age of this group we have here. But at the same time, it really amped up everyone's interest and engagement. So in that sense, you did a great job. Well done. I thought you were very consistent in keeping things light-hearted throughout your speech. Every time we thought this is going to get heavy, you told a joke, you kept things going, and even your examples kept it very relatable and relevant to every one of us. If there's anything I can suggest, it would be to vary that sort of impression you had on us in your speech. For example, I felt like your ending about calling back, why should we learn logical fallacies? Why is it so important to us? If it would have been useful for you, especially, to add a little bit more gravity, because that's the part you want people to remember. That's the part where you want people to take back with them and think, this is where I should take action and actually learn about it, because Shatner said it's important. Now, if you had kept that a bit more serious and focused that a bit more, I felt like we could have really taken that back. That said, Shatner, I thought it was a pretty solid speech. It wasn't too heavy on the research, but you managed to get everyone listening and interested to your speech. My challenge to you is to figure out, now that you have everyone's attention, what do you want to do with it? So I feel like if you could really keep that in mind when you write your speech, you could really take things to the next level. So that's my advice to you. Thank you very much, and back to you.
Thank you, Ling Ling. And now to evaluate my gut speech, let's welcome Heidi's hero, Dr.
So the purpose of my gut speech it was to tell a story within his speech. I felt that he delivered very well. He had, in terms of structure, he had the key message at the start, where that he mentioned about loving someone so much that you can either hold on to the person, and if you love that person even more, you have to let him go, or let him or her go. And the part where he had the second part where he had the story to support the whole key message, and he concluded with repeating again the message. So in terms of structure, he had the intro, body, and conclusion very well done. In terms of audience engagement, I felt that he helped us all on our toes, waiting in anticipation for a very happy ending. But so to say, it did not happen. So So it was very interesting in how he had managed to capture our attention and held it throughout. And he painted the whole story with very vivid words, I thought. 4 long, beautiful years. 6,000 pictures later. And where he struggled to provide for his family in order to find a better job or get a better pay. It had us imagining what he went through. Although he had painted this picture as whether it was a personal, fictional, a well-known fiction or his own creation, I could somehow felt it was a story about himself. And I felt very deeply. So did the audience.
Yes.
So again, very cleverly twisted with his story, the whole story. He followed a very good chronological order. He talked about his responsibilities for his parents, for his family, with his father gone, passing away, and the degree that he never managed to get. And in the relationship that he had, the responsibilities of his family taking over and because of that, having him to let go of that relationship. In terms of his strength, I find that Megat is very strong in his voice. He's got a very strong, powerful voice, and it's very clear, using very simple English. He managed to bring out the emotions in all of us, and well-paced in a very unhurried manner. He could possibly work on having more, he's got stage presence, no doubt, but he could possibly work more on moving around the stage and engaging us with more eye contact. All in all, well done, Megat, for passing this level 3 speech. I look forward to more presentations.
Thank you, nicely done, Sophia. So now, just my thoughts, my feedback on the speech evaluator. Firstly, in terms of being effective in giving their feedback, I think all the evaluators did that. Their objectives were very clear at the beginning, and each speech had a very particular set of objectives for the speakers to meet, and the evaluators focused on these points that the speakers needed to achieve. So if you compare them side by side, they were all unique in their own ways because they focused on the very specific speech. So, and when they delivered the feedback, clear, relevant, and no ambiguity at all. So that makes all the evaluations very effective. Specifically with Shatra, yes, I like that she was very clear. At the beginning, she said, look, I'm going to focus on structure. This is the key objective of So's speech. And she focused most of her evaluation on that. Solid point to you, Shatra. Nothing wrong with your evaluation there. A little bit more relaxed than how you usually do your evaluation, but we do evaluations, different styles of different meetings. If I were to make any suggestions on other things that you can highlight, other things you can comment on is, you said the structure is there because it was so easy to follow. It was seamless. Now, you can go into even more detail. Why was it so seamless? What did Sung do in her speech to make it so easy to follow? Was it the contents? Was it how she mix and match the contents? Was it specifically the transitions? Was it how she carried the emotional journey? Just go into more detail on what made it so seamless. With regards to Ling Ling, you highlighted humor was definitely one strength of Shatner's speech. I think we all love that speech. Because that, for me, that relates to in the beginning when you said you wanted to give feedback on how the message is conveyed, on how the message is absorbed. And adding humor certainly allows the audience members to easily absorb what would otherwise be a dry research speech. Now, this is not specifically for you, but I've always felt this is something that we can highlight in a research speech. It's always useful to highlight, you had so many sources, A, B, C, D, E, and F. Very good, the variety. But what about the credibility of those sources? What makes those sources very credible? Because I can quote 20 different websites, and who knows, maybe Shanur made those websites. It's probably for me. And when you highlighted lastly that Shanor could have elevated the gravity, the value of the speech, how? You say he could do that, but where exactly in the research could he do differently? What exactly about the structure he could do to add more gravity to the speech? So besides the ending, how does the content... And lastly, Sofiana, again, focus. She really stated she wanted to comment on how engaging Magat was. She commented on his voice, his storytelling, his language, structure, all that is there. So nothing wrong. The points were delivered very clearly, articulated very nicely. If anything, you're such a seasoned speaker, why not play around with different styles of doing evaluation? Yours is very straightforward, to the point, point A, point B, point C. Experiment with different styles because you're at that level where you can certainly deliver with a lot more pizzazz, for example. And yeah, so a round of applause to our speech evaluators. Let's hear from our role players. Let's big round of applause to first-time grammarian. Let's welcome Tarwana, everyone.
Okay. Hi, good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
As to emphasize, I am a first-time grammarian, but we shall do our best, okay?
Yeah.
Yes.
So our word of the day was equilibrate. Equilibrate. I keep emphasizing the wrong syllable. Equilibrate. Which
Equilibrate.
means that we go back to the definition, to achieve a state of balance or to bring something into equilibrium, where we have the synonym being aligned, balanced, or harmonized. And so many of you have diligently used this word today. So well. Okay. So in total, we've used the word and its variation 11 times. 9 times specifically for equilibrate. This is included myself. May Ann, we have Rano with 1, has 1 with 1, Adlan with 2, Ling Ling with 1, Shatra with 1, and Peng with 1. But Peng was also the one who used the different particle, which is the noun, which is equilibrium, and Magat as well, used equilibrium. Okay, we had a half used there by Ari, I think, in the beginning. Equilibrate objectives and feedbacks. You were close, you were so close. You could have just changed it a little bit and changed the word and to with and switch feedback with objective. That would have then made a better flow for the sentence, which will then be to equilibrate the feedback with the objectives.
Ooh.
So, the use of alignment. Things Okay, so just as a flow to that, what we could have improved on a little bit was throughout the day there was a phrase that we used, quick fixes. Would it be where am I today? Again, quick fix, where I am today. That would be a better sentence. Quite not right, quick fix, just move it, switch it around, not quite right. And further made me make a decision, just shorten it, made me decide. Okay. And just when Isa, just started her degree, you'd like to use the word just, which is okay because you are a just person. But we will say here, you can do immediately after Isra started her degree. That would have been just a better flow. So with everybody's uses today as well, what we've done well, in some use bubble of denial, a beautiful metaphor to impact her speech. That was well done. And great imagery. And then we had Dr. Sofiana with hardwired, which means that you're just hardwired, you know. Sometimes just get it. And then we have far-fetched by Magat, and that just means out of the ordinary. And then we have meticulously used by Hazwan, which was to explain Lawrence's well-organized and well-structured approach. And then we had one last one by Hazwan, which was pizzazz. You can see him use his hands with that word, just means grateful. And then one last one, which is wow, a great onomatopoeia by Heidi. And then So I had great difficulty in equilibrating negative and positive feedback to ensure constructive criticism. But thank you for the challenge. And back to you.
the natural there, our culture, and who said what? Is this your first time? Hello, everyone.
Before I start, I want to say, wow! Because there's so many people that didn't have any crash words for feelers. Yeah. But let me go through those who have. Mayan, as a Toastmasters of the evening, you have 3 and 1 R. Adlan, you had a lot of R's in your report. You have more than 10. Sawarna, though you did a very great report, you didn't seem nervous, but you have actually 6 and 1 R. Ari, you have 2 Hazwan as the GE, you have 3 R's and 1 Nazri, you have 1 and 2 souls. And the rest, Lawrence, Philip, Heng, Heidi, Song, Chanur, Sofiana, Megat, and oh my god, Lindy. Again, wow. Alright, who said what? Who lost track of time? Heidi.
Heidi.
How does Lawrence find table topics?
Encouraging.
No?
No.
Stimulating. Who is spiteful?
Like that.
Who is still dreaming? Heidi. You need to be a PhD. And the food items that were mentioned today. There were 4. Food items.
Pizza?
Food and fruits.
It was pizzazz, not
Yeah,
fancy way to say pizza.
Apple. Miss Apple.
Oh,
Orange. I said just now. Orange juice. Pickle.
That's hard. It's a fruit.
Popcorn.
Oh, yeah.
Name the Malay words that were mentioned. There were 2. No, that's blank. And one more. Balik. Bayang balik. So Mayang balik, what is her profession?
Actress,
Author.
Neuroscientist.
And the last one, who doesn't believe that she's smart, she's ambitious, and she's beautiful?
Song.
So, because nothing compares to you.
Rano, you did it again.
See, when he does that, the R counter and who said what session becomes a whole game show. Well, that is why he is president of our club. Now let's hear from our timer. Let's welcome Ari, everyone.
Thank you, Arnold. So let's start the timer report. So the SAA took 3 minutes and 7 seconds. The meeting started at exactly 7:30, and the introduction of the role players straight away after that at 7:33 p.m. And all in all, the table topics master took 56 seconds to introduce his role. The table topics evaluator 41 seconds. And there's 3 role players that had an equilibration time. So all of them had 1 minute. So let's get into it. So the grammarian took 1 minute and 28 seconds to introduce his role. The R counter and who said what, 1 minute and 8 seconds. And the general evaluator as well took 1 minute and 20 seconds. I took for my introduction 2 minutes and 47 seconds. Yeah, that's a long term. Okay. The time of the day took 1 minute and 37 seconds. The table topic session started at 7:49 and ended at 8:02 p.m. So in it, Philip took 2 minutes and 13 seconds. Najee took 1 minute and 59 seconds. Peng took 1 minute and 44 seconds. Heidi took 2 minutes and 34 seconds. Okay. And then the prepared speeches session, which took altogether 28 minutes. This is including the evaluator's introduction. So Eng Sung took 6 minutes and 45 seconds. Shanur took 6 minutes and 44 seconds. Mega took 6 minutes and 41 seconds. Then we had a break after that at 8:31 p.m. So it was exactly 5 minutes. And we started again the meeting at 8:36. And then the table topics evaluator, he took 6 minutes and 24 seconds for his evaluation. So in it, he evaluated Philip for 1 minute and 22 seconds, Nazri for 1 minute and 51 seconds, Peng for 1 minute and 23 seconds, Heidi for 1 minute and 40 seconds. Hazwan evaluated him for 1 minute and 42 seconds. Then the announcement of the table topic best table topics is 46 seconds. And then Hazwan evaluated Lawrence for 1 minute and 12 seconds. And for the prepared speeches evaluation, Shatra took 3 minutes and 7 seconds, Ling took 3 minutes and 20 seconds, Sofiana took 3 minutes and 13 seconds. And Hazwan evaluated each evaluator 1 minute and 35 seconds for Shatra, 1 minute and 32 seconds for Ling, 41 seconds for Sofiana. Altogether, he took 3 minutes and 48 seconds for the evaluators. Okay, the grammarian took 3 minutes and 25 seconds for the grammarian report. Accountant and who said what? 2 minutes and 47 seconds altogether. Accountant for 57 seconds. Who said what for 1 minute and 50 seconds. And I took 3 minutes. Back to you, Azwan. Oh, who's eligible? Okay. So, who's eligible? Wait, actually, yeah, Liglin, Shatra, Sofiana as well. Rano as well, yeah. Yep, that's it. So please vote. Please vote for the best evaluator and pass the votes. I think Shanur and Wilson will collect all the votes. That the queue has the vote.
Thank you very much, Ari. And now just to share my thoughts on the role players. Firstly, our fantastic grammarian tonight, super enthusiastic. You were so nervous going into this role, but you fully committed and you delivered with full enthusiasm. Excellently delivered. Well done. And on top of that, what made that role really stand up was you interacted. You didn't just stood up there and read off of this. You were interacting, pointing to the members, talking to them. Fantastic. Nicely done. Before I make any suggestions, you did mention in your introduction that your role will also be about evaluating and commenting on language use. So why not also share the impressions people can get from certain uses of language? Rano, well, no surprises how this guy does this role. Super enthusiastic, and he makes it. I think what Rano does really well is he is super engaging. He's like a game show host, and he does that. Is using all the techniques that we can all use. He uses his voice, he uses his body language, he uses his gesture. All in all, his energy just flows very naturally as he's interacting with everyone. So well done, no surprises that you can do this role well. My suggestion is, when you do the the crutch words part, why not also try to add a little bit more depth? And I mentioned highlight when specifically people use crutch words. Perhaps try to identify their thinking process or their reactions when they use certain words. So that will help the members identify when exactly these crutch words tend to come out. Ari, I think to summarize, you've been a Toastmaster for a while. You're competent at doing this role. There's no comment besides that. To take it to the next level up, to step up your ability, and especially in this role, I've always found that in terms of highlighting the timings in the beginning, grammarian introduced for so-and-so time, accountant so-and-so time, general matter so-and-so time, I always felt that was a bit tedious. No one really takes too much value out of that. So sometimes I summarize that by saying, hey, the introductions, yes, within the allocated time of 5 to 10 minutes in the very beginning. If something did stand out, like someone was particularly long with their introduction or too short to read, then perhaps you can highlight that. And another way to challenge yourself as timer is, now instead of just identifying the amount of time they speak, try to break down their speech within different segments of time. And especially in table topics, I think you're ready to take on that challenge. Yes, it's impromptu, it's 1 to 2 minutes, but even within 1 to 2 minutes, there can be different ways speakers manage their time. Some could spend more time in the introduction, some could elaborate a little bit more in the body. So once you start identifying that, that can also help the speakers identify what their own weaknesses are, where they need to cut down, where they need to elaborate to deliver stronger table topics, for example. And the other remaining role players, firstly, Wilson, always a consistent sergeant at arms. You've been doing this role for a while now. You know your part, you know your lines. I still get the impression that when you're doing your part, it always looks as if you're trying to recall a script. Because that shows in your body language. Okay? Sometimes you look to the side, it shows that you're trying to recall a list in visual. So because you've been doing this role for a while, you know the role. Try not recalling from a list, but just speaking straight. So there could be two approaches to doing this. Either number one, just really write it out and memorize it word for word, or you know the lines, you know the words so well, just trust your own ability to deliver that, rather than trying to find the perfect script. Mei-an, well, wasn't she a fantastic Toastmaster lady? Firstly, she is always meticulously prepared. She does a lot of preparation. Sometimes she makes things up along the way, but she does put in a lot of effort as well. She's very enthusiastic. Immediately when she's enthusiastic, that energy is just contagious. We feel enthusiastic in the meeting. And she likes to give herself her own challenges in doing Toastmasters, in doing the roles, and I think this is quite... Not many people would do it, but it does. I do believe it can add a lot of value. Whatever you want to do, whatever role you want to do up here, come up with a very specific intention for yourself. I want to do this. This is how I'm going to do that. And then evaluate yourself as to whether or not you achieved that objective. And lastly, she was just super playful. Whenever she messed up the word, she would call herself out, make fun of herself. And then she would just, all in all, interact with people. She's talking with people back and forth. From start to middle to finish, our energy is really maintained, and Mei-an played a very big role. So another round of applause. Well done to all role players and evaluators. And for me, I just wanted to share one quick thought in terms of my approach, being general evaluator. Someone mentioned, because I asked her for her speech objectives, and someone mentioned, wow, no other general evaluator has ever asked me for the speech objectives. It may help, it may not help, but what I like to do is, if I'm general evaluator, I actually ask the speakers for their speech objectives. I know they give that to their own speech evaluators, but I also like to ask for it, so I better understand what their intentions are. And as a general evaluator, it's something that we practiced a long time ago, a few years ago. We also emphasize the fact that as general evaluator, you can disagree with the speech evaluator. If you have a completely different impression, you can. So I think it just adds another dimension to giving feedback to the speakers. So all in all, thank you everyone. And now let's bring it back to the Toastmaster of the evening.
To learn and enjoy as well. It's always a good meeting for me when I not only can be in tune with what people say, I also learn something. That's the main objective, to learn something. Always learn something. Keep learning. Okay. Before I turn the floor to the president, I just want to thank all the role players again for taking up this role, especially when we also have a guest coming in. In some ways, we don't have guests tonight, but we have internal Brunei club members. That allowed me the liberty to be more playful than usual. Not all play, or all play, all and don't play.
that really sparked my. I can't believe we haven't let a certain member live down his mistake with a shower of papa. And another memorable for me, this thing from the last quarter was once upon a time, Atlan performed a TME in which he gave the personality test, and I remember from that time he mentioned a certain member's animal, which is like she likes to prove people wrong, and that's how she gets stronger. And that's connected with today's spiteful remark. Side jokes tonight, which I think wouldn't really be appreciated if we have guests. So I'm actually quite fortunate to be here. We volunteered to be here this evening. Without further ado, let us bring our president on stage.
My questions. Thank you, Mayan, so much because I think she stepped in like on the date last week itself, right? Yeah. So I think it's a great job for her, and I think the group chat planning meeting really works and getting people on the run, and that's why we have the meeting here quite running smoothly at the same time. I also like the speeches today by Megan, Shandor, and Song. Oh my God! I think I would say that the speeches now lately has been great. Very there's a lot of values that you can bring back as well as an audience. So I felt that this is something that we're going to step forward. It's a bit different of a crowd as well because we don't have guests. And I was like, oh, what? How come there's no guests? It's a bit weird. Yeah, just checking the Instagram. There was no promotion on the speakers especially. So I noticed that when you have speakers being promoted, I felt that they will bring more guests coming. Well, they only promoted you. Yeah, yes, it's promoted you. Yeah.
Also, need the Instagram
But as an improvement, we have 3 members who showed up last week on Zoom and they're here tonight. So, right? Sofiana, Song, and don't come here because you have roles, right? But you come here because you want to come here.
Oh, yes.
First time as graduate, congratulations, Kawana. I think most of the time people will take the timer role as the default role for first timers, but you took the chance to become premier because I know someone couldn't make it. I know it was, I think Iqbal, right? Iqbal was supposed to be the graduate tonight. Yeah, but he had some engagement to do, so couldn't be here on time. So thank you, Tawana, for stepping in, and I hope Iqbal you can take the role next week. Thank you, and yeah, good job also to the first time CTE Adnan. So everyone here, member of Brunei Speakers Club, have a speaking role, and I know Chirong has not spoken because he'll be speaking later here tonight as part of the AOB. I would like to announce the next Toastmasters of the evening. Drum rolls. Mr. Kong. Alright, so if you're looking for, well, grammar is taken already by well, so that's less of a worry. Okay, now it's for members' feedback. Since we don't have any guests, member feedback, I would like to ask the members' feedback for no volunteers ka?
Zero.
What's your later?
It's not the same. It's not the same.
Okay, Shatra, so what's it like?
I will be following Ling Ling's approach. Spike. Oh, you're still waiting. I like it. I enjoyed Tarwana's performance tonight and Song's to their new. I'm looking forward to Shank's first icebreaker speech. I
Peng.
Peng.
I will take my leave now. Thank you.
Any more membership back? No. Okay, we have two any other business. The first any other business, I'd like to invite our Vice President of Membership. Please welcome Kirong.
Fellow Toastmasters, halfway through our term, I'm very pleased to announce that Brunei Speakers Club, we have gained 9 new members this term. And 6 of these members have just joined in the year 2021. These members, they are, number 1, Amar, who is not here. We have Iqbal, we have Peng, we have Tawana, we have Nina, and also Ying. So these are the 6 new members that have just recently joined us in 2021. Now it is now our duty and privilege to induct these new members into Brunei Speakers Club. This is an important occasion both for these new members and for our club. These individuals have come to Toastmasters seeking to improve their communication and leadership. And we now have an opportunity to help them learn, grow, and achieve. I will now call upon our new members who are present today and ask them to join me here in front. So please withhold your applause until the ceremony is completed. Can I please call upon, firstly, Tawana. Please come. Tawana, Peng, and Iqbal.
Can we please? It feels really weird. We're Toastmasters.
Silent one.
Listen to instruction. Okay.
They
haven't been accepted yet.
Yeah, not yet. This is Guys, congratulations. The members of the Brunei Speakers Club have consented you to being part of our club. You are now joining a worldwide organization that has over 350,000 members to learn to communicate and learn and lead more effectively. As members of the Brunei Speakers Club and Toastmasters International, it is a privilege that carries with it many rewards. Our collective obligation is to grow and improve ourselves and to share our knowledge and experience with fellow members in a spirit of enjoyment. We ask you, our new members, to dedicate yourselves to personal growth and to help keep the Brunei Speakers Club strong and dynamic. Now, in the presence of your fellow members of the Brunei Speakers Club, do you make this firm obligation to, number 1, to attend club meetings regularly, to prepare all of your projects to the best of your ability, basing them on the Toastmasters education pathway, to prepare for and fulfill meeting assignments, to provide fellow members with helpful, constructive evaluations, to help club maintain the positive, friendly environment necessary for all members to learn and grow, to serve our club as an officer when called upon to do so, to treat your fellow club members and our guests with respect and courtesy, to bring guests to the club meetings so that they can see the benefits of Toastmasters membership, the benefits that Toastmaster membership offers, to adhere to the guidelines and rules for all Toastmasters education and recognition program, and lastly, to act within Toastmasters' core values of integrity, respect, service, and excellence during the conduct of all Toastmaster activities.
Yes, I do.
Thank you. Yes. What do I feel like? Now, members of the Brunei Speakers Club, could you all please stand? Members of Brunei Speakers Club, do you pledge to support these new members in their quest for self-development, provide positive, helpful evaluations, maintain a friendly and supportive atmosphere, give opportunities to help others and to make their Toastmasters membership a rewarding and fulfilling experience?
Yes, we
will.
Thank you. It's now my pleasure to declare you 3 installed as Brunei Speakers Club members.
All right, thank you so much. And here comes another AOB. I'd like to welcome our Vice President of Education, Shanur.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
Good
Since all of you are Toastmasters here, so no need to brief you again about the cafe, right? So, I think around 3 weeks ago, before the competition, someone managed to last minute completed the level 2 project pathway. So they're automatically eligible for the contest. So tonight we're going to present him the certificate for the completion of the level 2. Now may we call upon Visionary Communication Level 2, Wilson Cole.
All right, thank you, Shanur. And I have one more AOB, and this is for this particular member. Okay, this person has been a member for, I think, almost a year, if I'm not mistaken. His favorite role is the German role.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
when he does his speeches, it's all very well prepared, very structured. It's like a seasoned Toastmasters, and he's also willing to learn and even took up the challenge to take up table topics. Now, it has been voted by the Expo on who is the most improved member of Brunei Speakers Club. So I believe this person deserves this. I'd like to welcome Toastmasters Lauren Powell here to receive the
Main photographer first.
One, two, and 1, 2, and 3, 4,
So we have 9 new members, and also those who are not one. We have 4 more months to go before we decide the next most improved member. Okay, so Lawrence is not eligible. Can still win the outstanding award member for the end. So it will be end of June 30th that will be decided by the Expo on who will get the award. Now, for the best ability ribbon, please drum rolls, everyone. Yes. It's the person who.
Ling Ling!
Oh, Shatra! All right, now for my closing remarks. We talk about so many things: fallacies, popcorn, apple juice. But I agree with Mean that about challenges. Now, challenges, this is part of our life. I mean, whether you like it or not, so this is part of it. But I'm glad that no one kicked the bucket. So, yeah, all the speeches today shared about challenges, comparison, fallacies, and relationships. But it's how we overcome these challenges. I can see that with great intention, we can overcome these obstacles. Loving yourself more, or concede defeat your uncle, or if you can't, just let it go. If all fails, align yourself and equilibrate. Ladies and gentlemen, many challenges come and go. Yes, it's true. You can always get a hug if you're feeling blue. Come next week, bring a guest or two. Because we Toastmasters will be here just for you.